So hey guys, and by the way, he said I was gonna say in that video before the video cut out. He said 1 for all, 8% or something. Oh yeah. By the way, last where we left off, Lemillion goes back and tells Nine-Nine, like, I saw someone who defeated Oval, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And he had electric steel around him. And so deku goes and just... But then Lemillion says, he like said 1 fall or something, 8%, or maybe like 10, whatever the number was. And then Nade was like, wait, what? The success of 1 fall? Didn't all my on our last call what he gave me, because he just wanted to warn us about this, that his last successor was the traitor to UA, and well, but why would he just defeat Oval like that? And also, I heard there was a massive breakthrough, and Muscular, like, I don't know what happened to him, but he just got beat up. Maybe that was the successor of 1 fall. Let's just think of this for a second. So, he should... By the way, he says that in his head. Lemillion can't hear. And then Deku runs off to find Eri and says, hey, Eri. Wait, Eri just says, Eri? Hey, Eri, do you wanna live with me? And then Eri's just like, yeah. And then they go back, and Eri just, like, is, like, marveled at this place made out of, like, wood. Because, like, she's never seen such a, I guess, jungly house in her life. So she was like, oh, this looks cool. And Dickie says, come on, there's a spare room. I don't know why I have that, just coincidence. And then brings her to the spare room. Oh, why do I call him? Her to the spare room and says, this is where you're gonna sleep. Do whatever you want with the place. I don't really care. So, Dick just goes to sleep, and inside of his dream, he had this really weird dream. He saw, I think, he saw someone, what All Might said, Nana Shimura? And some other people who he didn't know. One was All Might, but the other ones he didn't really know at all. I'm just gonna say All Might had a picture of Nana Shimura, but not of the others. And Dick is just like, who are you other than All Might and Nana Shimura? And everyone says, we are the last 1 for users. And he's just like, cool, but why are you here? They say, well, everyone said, All Might say. I'm gonna say All Might's somewhere else in this world, because they didn't see All Might. Because if All Might was in this world, right now, he would know that he was wrong. I'm pretty sure this is actually their constant, this, not just All Might being there, just a spirit of All Might. So All Might's somewhere else in, like, the world. I forgot what it's called. I'm just gonna call it, like, the Spare Realm or something. So, nah, I'm not gonna call it anything. So, like, he's just like, also, where am I? And then they say, you're in. And then Nanas Ramora says, you're inside of one fall. The Dick was like, inside of? How can you be inside of your work? And Nanas Ramora was like, I don't really know that, Christian. Izuku, is it? And then he just said, yeah. Wait, who are those? And then they just say, that's All For One from the past, and the first user of One Fall. So, they could just like, isn't All For One the bad one here? By the way, he's got more percent of one fall because he's stronger now. So that means he can actually talk instead of just being able to like see. If he like had no percentage of one fall being able to use, he would be able to see anything. But at least he can see stuff and hear and talk stuff and hear stuff. You know that. Oh yeah, by the way, this looks confusing, but it's what if Deku was betrayed part 2, not just what if part Deku was to betrayed. That sounds weird. So Deku just like, so what do I do here? Then they say, oh, they're quirks. I don't know. I only know 2 people's quirks. So Nanoshamora says, my quirk is float. It's basically flying, but you're floating. And then the other guy, I forgot his name, says, if he even does have a name, if he even does show up with his name, says, I'm pretty sure it's the 5th user, says, my quirk is black-lipped. You'll have to learn all 3 of these quirks. So, I'm gonna say, but if you want to get float, you have to have like at least 15%, which by now Deku does have. But if you want to get black whip, you have to have 20%, which he does not have. Actually, I'm gonna say he does have more than 20%. So he has 30%, so he needs 40%, then 50%. Black whip float 40, black whip 50. So that's his needs. Because if he's higher than what happens in the anime, that means he'll have the same amount of black stuff around him, I think. So then, Deku just is like, okay. And then he leaves, wakes up with like one fall in his hair. And like on his hand for some reason. On his arm. And he like is so confused. And it's morning. So he goes on patrol secretly by wearing like his black hoodie, I guess. And so he's just looking around. Everyone's just like, just might be an emo teenager. Stay clear of those guys. Thinking he was an emo teenager. That's all he was. And Deku just sees someone needing help in an alleyway, like this always happens. He sees someone holding an axe and saying to a woman, "Give me all your money, all your valuables, anything you have, which can be pretty valuable, give it." And so they could just sneaks behind the wall on the roofs behind them and just jumps him again like he did with Oval and kicks him. And so this time he defeats it and says, "Okay, you should go running off by now." And then she says, thank you, who is it?" And then he says, "Can't tell." Because everyone knows that Izuku is the traitor. So if anyone says, if he ever says, "My name's Izuku Midoriya," if he ever says that, like, he will literally just be like scared. Everyone would be scared of him. They would be like calling the police. And because everyone thinks he was the one who broke all of those guys out of prison, because he's like apparently the worst person there. Even though he doesn't know what happened. It wasn't Dabby because the fire wasn't blue, by the way. I forgot to mention that. There's 100% no gnomes there. So Dicky just saves her. Nothing interesting happens for that time. Until one Pacific day. One day, that event happens. You remember that thing? Where Deku goes against other schools. You guys remember that? So he looks in. I don't remember much of this, but he sees that, and while he's walking across the street, he looks at these weird cars. And they were banging, no zoo cars, and they were kind of suspicious. So Deku just followed them until they got to the place, and he saw something weird. Wait, no, he saw a Nomu. 15 Nomus step out of each truck, which is about 100 trucks. That's a lot of trucks. That's 15 times 100. Let me just think of that math for that. That is 1,500 Nomus. And that's a crazy amount of Nomus. And he's like, shoot, I've got to help these guys. How am I going to show off my electricity if All Might's there? Is All Might there? And, but he's just like, I've got to help him. And before I get to a cliffhanger, I'm going to have to end the video. Sorry, but I don't have unlimited amount of time. I only have a limited of 15 minutes. That's right, it always ends on 15 minutes. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this part 2 of What If Deku Was Betrayed. And hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.